discussing the truth about autoimmune, the secrets, the things that you don't think about, why it keeps coming back. And we're also going to be talking about how it's affected by implants, explants, silicone in the body, etc., etc. It's going to be a really powerful session here with Claire Crowley from Bachelorette season 16. She'll be joining us in a minute here. Checking out, if you have an autoimmune issue or you have a question, I want you to put the question down there in the question section as we'll be pulling those up. And also put down if you've been dealing with an autoimmune, put down how you're dealing with it right now. Okay, and we are waiting here. We'll have Claire up here in a second. And let's ask about invite to join.
Yeah, I got a notification too.
Okay. There we go. Hey, Claire.
Hey, oh, my volume's down. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Doing okay today. Doing okay. It was a little slow start for me.
Yeah. So it's been a trying couple of weeks, hasn't it?
It has. It totally has. But what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was just talking, we're doing an autoimmune workshop on the 17th, which is Sunday, online.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that we have with people is that when autoimmune's clearing up, it pokes its head back up and goes back down, pokes its head back up, and does it a couple of times.
Yeah. For me, and it's like, it's still frustrating every single time. Every single time. I know what it is. We know what it is. It's like, still here. But I think the biggest thing is just being able to control like the symptoms of it and stuff, and kind of like addressing it when, I mean, I feel like we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's like, if it pops in, you deal with it, you know, ebbs and flows, I guess. But it's still challenging for me, you know, it's still challenging.
So was there anything that was triggering it this time around? You had a lot of stress, I heard.
Probably stress. That would be probably the most significant thing. I think just now the baby's on her way. For me, there's a lot of stress, a lot of worries of like the unknown. And I guess, yeah, stress. And also too, it's like, for me, if I'm being honest, it's this transition of my mom being on hospice and the baby coming in, and like my mom's kind of eating less and less right now. And so just noticing the effects of that as we're transitioning to the new baby. So it's this fine line of like, will these two worlds come together?
Whoa. So I got it in my throat right now. So there's something you're not saying to your mom. Does that feel true?
It's possibly, but I mean, yes, because I've tried saying everything I can to her, but you don't want to say too much, or, you know, like, I don't know how, you don't know, here it is. With my mom, it's hard to know what to say because she can't speak back. And I don't know, it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
When's her birthday?
What's that?
What's her birthday?
My mom's?
Yeah.
December 28th.
Oh my goodness. She's a Capricorn.
Yeah. Yes.
She's probably a 7-degree Cap. She's probably a Pisces Capricorn, a spiritual Capricorn.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Grandmaster Pisces. That would make sense.
Yeah. So it's a tough one right now. And yeah, I was just visiting with my mom the other day, and 2 days ago, and it was, am I saying the right thing? Am I telling her, you know, I don't know. Communication is hard with my mom.
Mm-hmm. Has it always been hard?
Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
Has it always been hard, or is it just hard now because she can't return the conversation?
It was always hard, and then it got good when I started speaking up, using my voice, kind of standing up for myself, and then now it's getting hard again because she can't communicate. So.
Wow, so you weren't communicating, you did, it got good, now she can't communicate.
Yeah.
It's the other end of the spectrum. And by the way, through here and on through here, that's grief.
Mm. Yeah, and that was the thing. Like I woke up super puffy and super congested in here.
Yeah, that's all grief. That's all large intestine and lungs. Lungs are through here, large intestine through here.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Gary? It's like with grief, I think a lot of people, me included in that, it's almost like if it wasn't there, what would love be? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, because we were taught that love is we were taught that love is I love you because I can't imagine not being with you. I fear you with somebody else. I don't know who I am without you. But that's the love that we grew up with. That's the I mean, you came from the program that literally drove that message into society. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But love is the other side of love is acceptance.
Mm.
You know, for whatever, you know, if you love something, let them go. If they come back for yours, it's like the acceptance. It's the unconditioned. It's the compassion, but we're not taught that. So grief is I hold love, but there's judgment around it.
Mm.
And if it doesn't happen the way that I want it, then I have grief. But grief is a weird one too, because grief, like I want to help people so badly. And we were talking about this earlier. If I go to help somebody and they don't want the help or they don't want to help themselves, I feel grief.
Yeah. Oh, it can come in so many different forms. I believe that for sure.
Yeah.
You don't it doesn't have to be passed on to be grieving something. I guess.
Yeah. We think it's about death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about moving on and moving forward.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, there's a part of it. If I can recognize and say, there's a lot of people say, I don't want to have grief, I don't want to have anger, I don't want to have sadness. But if I don't have grief, anger, and sadness, I don't know what joy, exaltation, love feels like. Because if I have just love and joy all the time, eventually I don't have any difference. There's no contrast.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that I'm grieving her. She has Alzheimer's and dementia, the late stages of it, as she's on hospice now. But it's these. I'm grieving who, it's so hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
My mom, grieving my mom while she's sitting in front of me, seeing the woman she is now and who she was. It's hard.
Yeah. It's a debilitating disease.
Yeah, so yeah, it's the grieving of that right now, and it's like I honor the grief and I'm okay with the grief right now because it is such a huge loss. My mom was one of the most active, amazing, positive, like just go-getter. She was down for anything, and then it's like who she is now, she would just hate it. She would hate it, having to be spoon-fed and all that. So it's tough.
Do you want to let go of some of this?
Yes.
Let's put your right hand in your heart. Left hand on your head. Let's bring these two together. Breathe in through your mouth. Two. Three. Repeat after me. I no longer want to hold this grief in my body.
I no longer want to hold this grief in my body.
I'm no longer holding grief for you, Mother.
I'm no longer holding grief for you, Mother.
I'm speaking my truth now.
I'm speaking my truth now.
Breathe in through your nose. 2. 3. Whoa. I feel that. That's all your grand mastery. All that motion, I'm tingling everywhere.
I get it too. Oh,
that was beautiful.
That was really, really beautiful letting go. You know, I went through I watched my mother go from completely active. I watched her mentally and emotionally give up. in a conversation. I can tell you the exact conversation. From that conversation 6 months later, from completely active at 83 years old, running around, driving sports cars, telling everybody F off and get out of her way, little Leo, right? To literally in a diaper and dead within 6 months to the day. And there's a certain time that I've noticed in working with a lot of end of life people, when they made the decision to go, the body just lets go. And that's where they go from this vibrant, healthy person to whatever it is. And part of it was, for me, was just letting her go. And, and I was in this, I knew it was coming. And I was in this meditative state. And it was like where I went to create fascial maneuvers. It's like a channel state. And I was in there, and my mom showed up. And this has been a space where I've been for 4 or 5 years, where I would go and ask questions of myself or the universe to get more answers to help people. My mom showed up, and I realized that she showed up because she wanted me to let her go. And I let her go, and 3 weeks later to that day, she died.
It's the hardest thing, Garry. It's the hardest thing. It was the same thing with my father he passed away when I was in my early 20s. And the hospice nurse came to me. I'm the youngest of 6 girls. And she came to me and she said, my dad had glioblastoma, brain cancer. And the hospice nurse came to me and said, I know you're his youngest, but he's not going to let go until you tell him you're going to be okay.
Whoa.
And I sat there for days and I was like, I'm not going to be okay. 20-year-old Claire was like, I'm not going to be okay. And then one night I just walked into his room and I sat with him, and I just really sat with him, and I said, I know I'm going to be okay. I don't know how. I don't know when, but I'm going to be okay. And I just laid with him, and the next morning he passed.
Yeah.
I think with my mom, it's the hard part of, I want so badly for her to meet my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of like, and my mom is hanging on, like she really is hanging on, and just, I could tell she's hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough.
So taking this all the way back to you, your life, and your body. When your autoimmune flared up, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. You've got mom going out. You've got baby coming in. Yeah. You've got all of these expectations in life. You're already gone through this window of high because your body started healing when we got together.
Totally.
And then you come back down to okay, I have a breakout. How did that make you feel?
It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. Here we are trying to Ryan just got here.
Hey, Ryan.
We're trying to heal each other and help each other figure things out and work together and, share our stories and stuff. So it's frustrating to have the regret. I always say the regression back into the autoimmune, but it's one of those things that makes us human. And that's, I think the reason we can teach and share is by our experiences. And this is my experiences going through these ups and downs of autoimmune.
Were you mad at your body?
Of course. Absolutely. It's frustrating.
So part of dementia is anger. So I perceive this as you're clearing off stuff with your mother that has to go in order for her to go. So she can't talk, so you're actually clearing it through here. And it's not.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, and it's not going backwards. What happens is that I have a problem in my body. Then I get this emotion. Oh, my body, it's not broken. I start winding down. Oh, stupid thing. I can't do this. I build these stories and narratives. I keep winding down. Now you're down here managing that autoimmune disease, but you want to go back up. Well, you have to go up the complete way that you went down. So every emotion, every situation that I had personally as I was going into pain, I had a view of as I was coming out. So let me tell you a very personal one, okay? and it's definitely not something I'm proud of, but it was personal to me. I got married like I was 18, and we got married when I had kids. I had done the stupidest thing. I felt so ashamed and so guilty. I cheated on my wife, and I had the girl that I was with had scratched my back, and then so I'm now walking around for like a week, hiding my back from my Scorpio wife. Scorpios don't miss anything, and I was so ashamed. It was like one of the lowest points of my life. And then coming all the way, and this, I'm talking, I must have been like 24. You know, I mean, most kids are going through this today. They're not married. I'm married with kids now at this point.
Yeah.
So then I'll fast forward to 2016. And this is probably, we're talking, this is probably almost, maybe 15 years later, something like that. Longer than that, actually. Yeah, it's actually longer than that. But anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm going through all this emotional release and all this stuff with fascia as I started working with it. And my wife at the time, I come out of the shower and I have scratch marks all over my back. And she's like, what? They starts freaking out. I'm like, literally, I've been with you every moment, day and night for the last 2 weeks. Like, literally haven't left your side. Like, we were together working. Like, we hadn't left each other's side. And I don't know what it is. And then I had the memory of the event. Wow. My body, my fascia held those scars inside of me for over 15 years, waiting for me to process it and tell a new story. Wow.
So it held on to it for that long.
Yeah, and I have a whole bunch that I've shared. One with my daughter, where I was feeling guilty. My daughter is overweight, and I was feeling guilty about her weight, and I was feeling guilty about judging the health of somebody by their weight, and I wasn't doing it, but it was in my consciousness because I always believed you had to be thin and you had to work out to be healthy, and that's not true actually.
Yeah.
And I was working with her. And I had her totally twisted, and I moved her shoulder, and she had a right shoulder issue, which is emotions for the physical, for dad. And her shoulder dropped. I held her there, and I said, Brittany, in my mind, I said, I love you for who you are. When that thought came up, her shoulder went clunk.
Oh,
and then my left arm, it went chicken pox, and it went black. And it was grief coming up, and I got camera, I have photos I posted in the app. I show people. Wow, it's emotions coming out. So this is what's happening. It's just emotions coming out.
Yeah, it's ever evolving. I mean, we always talk about it and talked about it last time we were on together. It was like, it's never going to be you're healed, you're great. It's perpetually working on it, and things are perpetually coming up, and situations, and it's like there's days where I feel like I'm doing great, and then I'll go visit my mom, and it's like, oh, that grief and that sadness just comes right back in. And so my body, I guess, like you say, it reacts to that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So yeah, it's hard not to have that anger of like, God, body, what are you doing? But it's, again, we talked about it, and it's one of those, the body lets us know, and it never messes up, knows what it's doing.
So here's one of the things that I've learned to do, because, I've had some really tenuous situations in my life. So I have that when something comes up I don't like.
Yeah.
I give myself, like when you watch TV and they give you a fake laugh,
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I go, I wonder how this one's going to work out. I wonder how this is going to resolve itself. And so I tell myself that because when it's really, really dark, if I don't tell myself that, I get into the self-pity, I get into the anger, the frustration, because I was doing that for years, and I realized if I'm angry at my body, it's not going to do any better. It's going to get worse.
Right. I know. It's that downward spiral, like you say. We don't have we don't, I don't know. It's easy to fall into, right? It's that cozy bed, easy to fall into and hard to get out of sometimes.
So what do you do when you're there? Do you talk yourself out of it?
I move. I get outside and I go on a walk, and sometimes
I saw you going to play tennis.
Yeah, we've been going to play tennis. That was the thing the other day. I told Ryan, I was like, we have to get out there and play. Let's do everything before the baby comes that we want to do right now. And so we're like, let's just get up and go play tennis. But I get outside and I move, even if it's like the days where I'm like, I do not want to move today, or I don't want to do this. I make sure that I get out and get fresh air, and I just focus on my breathing when I'm out there. I try to just clear my brain and just walk. And one of my favorite things to do is, I don't know if this is cool or not, but there's a cemetery by our house, and I'll just go walk in the cemetery and do laps. And I feel like it's the most peaceful thing ever. And I just focus on my breathing and kind of just clear my mind, because if I'm down that downward spiral, it's because I'm in my head and just overthinking and spinning out on it. So I'll just go on a walk. Sometimes I'll grab Ryan, sometimes I'll go solo and just walk.
So what you're saying is, when you go there, you're just dying to get in there and walk.
Just dying to get in there in good company.
All right, hey, when it's a grave situation.
Always with the dad jokes. Exactly. I know. I was looking around the other day and I was like, there's got to be some good jokes about the irony of me coming here.
So out of curiosity, why do you think you're attracted to the grave here, or to the?
I feel like it's very, very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a space where I can go and no judgment, nobody looking, nobody judging. And it's just peaceful. It's just so peaceful to me, and it's beautiful to me.
Yeah, no one judging. I guess you could be dead right then.
Yes. Dead
No,
on.
but it's interesting because, you know, you're a Grandmaster Pisces, which makes you also a Grandmaster Virgo and a Grandmaster Cancer, all in the same thing. And you have a 29-degree Grandmaster in your moon too. So you have all this mastery in you. And Pisces are about black and white. They're about death and life, above and below. So it kind of makes sense that you would go there to find solace.
Yeah. It's and there's a lot. I mean, literally, I live across the street from 1,000 hiking trails, and I choose to go down the street to the cemetery every time. I love it. So you go through, you have the emotional release with your mom. Mm-hmm. Is it like do you feel a burning in your face right afterwards, or do you go to sleep, you wake up, and there it is?
No, it happens there. As a matter of fact, I FaceTimed my sister when I was there the other day, and she's like, your face is so red. And for a long time, I was like, I was telling my other sisters, I was like, I don't know what detergents they use on my mom's clothes or her sheets, because I'm always like rubbing her face and holding her hands and touching her sheets and touching her blankets. And I was like, I don't know what kind of detergent they use on there. And my sister was like, they use hypoallergenic, like they don't use harsh, it's, you know, old people, they don't use harsh detergents on them or anything like that. And so I was the other night, she's like, your face is so red. And I was like, I know. And then went to sleep, woke up, and then it was just like, oh, here we are again. And it was puffy and swollen and all right in here too. I feel it all in there.
So for me, I didn't know that that's what it was, but I would have, when I was going through my government-sponsored vacation back in, I would have this emotional release with my wife, and then I would feel this flushing in my face, and it was like stinging. And then over the course of the next couple of hours, it would just get redder and redder and redder.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I didn't know at the time. I mean, this is going back into 2008. I didn't know that that was actually an autoimmune condition at that time. Because we're, you know, like a lot of people, they get an autoimmune, they get rashes, rosacea, anxiety, depression, cold hands, cold feet, and they're just like, no, I just got a rash.
Yeah.
But But that's not, that's the leading cause. And I feel like too, because your body was leaching with silicone from the implants and the explants, that your body's now processing it. Because when the body, people go, no, I've been fine for all this time, I haven't had an issue. Well, it's pretty easy, because it's like if I have an allergen or an intolerance that my body can't get over, my body stops trying to fix it. So I don't have the symptom. But when I start to clean my body up, my body goes, oh, I can clean itself now. So it starts cleaning it. And that's why people go into like what they consider to be a detox or a breakup.
Yeah. Interesting. That I know. I today I was like, I gotta take my curcumin. I stopped taking the diatomaceous earth, so I gotta get back on that one too.
Yeah. Well, it's what that's doing is it's cleaning out the small intestine.
Yeah.
Which is why the issue is there in the first place. And if remember the belly button torque that we did with Ryan did on
Yes.
Yeah, doing the partner belly button torque and the partner iliocincal valve release, and then also too for you the psoas release.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
That one there because when the psoas or the iliocincal valve on the right side gets blocked, that is your autoimmune flare. It's because what happens is pressure comes in the small, like people, I just got bloating. If I get bloating, the first thing I do, like I had it about, maybe it was like 4 or 5 months ago, I had bloating for the first time in, I don't know, years. And I was like, what's going on? I didn't even recognize it at first as bloating. I'm like, oh, I feel pressure there. And then I'm like, oh, bloated. So I go over, pull it up, release it. Within 5 minutes, the pressure goes down, because that pressure is what forces pressure up into this area or into here.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna get off when we get off and do that.
Yeah, I do that. I honestly, because I do the iliocincal valve release or the psoas release. I do that twice a day, anyways.
Okay.
Like I'm standing in the kitchen. Yeah, and I get up off of a couch and I'm doing this, and like I'll do it. I get on a plane and I'm doing it on a plane. I'm always, because our lives are pretty sedentary. We're not supposed to be sitting as much as we do.
Yeah. Gary, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that your real background or is that a Zoom background? Because that's
my real background.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. I want you guys to come up at some point.
Absolutely. That is absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking at that as you're talking. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I get this. So what happened was, I get this quite often. Somebody goes, I'm on a call and they're like, and it's big Zoom call, right? And there's like, I don't know, 1,000 people on there, whatever. And they're like, why would you use a fake background? And I see that come up in the comment and I'm like, that's not a fake background. See that little island out there? Right there, that one right there. That one there at nighttime or in the afternoon when the sun comes down, it makes the island look like it's floating. It looks like there's no. Isn't it beautiful?
It's
we
gorgeous.
Have bears here. We have raccoons. We have.
Are you there for the holidays?
Yeah, we come up here for the holidays, and then we'll go back down to Cancun.
I love it.
Yeah, and we're looking at a space in Cancun. It's about 10 acres on the water. And it's just like, and we're going to be reaching out to our community, to people who do sustainable structures and power, alternate power and stuff like that. And just a place where we can hang out, where we can bring people. I mean, we have the place where we are right now, and you guys are welcome down there anytime. But it'll be a little bit before you're traveling, I'm sure.
Yeah. We're going to have to party at 3 coming down.
Well, and what we have right now is would be interesting, because we have the parents helping children with fascial maneuvers. We have that group, and it's all the moms. It started off with kids that were on the spectrum, autistic, non-verbal, non-motion, stuff like that, and brain cancers, all kinds of stuff, Parkinson's, spastic cerebral palsy, and these kids are getting better. The parents are doing it. And so that program is going to be a public program on our platform soon, but it's basically help for all moms, all parents.
Same with, I saw the pictures. I keep seeing the pictures of the eczema, the child with eczema, that the parent did it when the baby was sleeping. Did the maneuvers. That was amazing.
So let me give you the story on that. 18 months old, son in Australia. It's during the pandemic. So you can just imagine, like, if you got spots all over you where people's minds are, right?
Yeah.
So when the baby would be out at the park playing, the moms would come and grab their kids and take them away, so leave the kid alone by himself. So the mom just called crying, so all she did was give her babies a few minerals, and then do that movement every day on the sleep. And within 6 weeks, completely cleared up. And this is what I want people to know about autoimmune disease. Like right now, you're detoxing from an extra load on your body. You had silicone go in your body from an implant. And so your body needs a little extra time to clear, because it takes a couple of years for the body to come back. But the fascial maneuvers, when we open up in the GI tract, and we do that every single day for any autoimmune disease, the autoimmune disease starts to go away. Your body's designed to heal itself.
I know those pictures. It was beautiful, especially for that little child. It was like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and you know, we had here's another one too. There's Leah Brown. She came on live once and talked. So I can talk about this. She had a child with a blastoma, so it was on the brainstem, and they're looking at another rounds of surgeries and chemos and all that. Well, she's on the minerals. She's doing the fascial maneuvers on the child. It's 3 years old, so she's doing it on the child. And from July through to a month and a half ago, it had reduced by 50%, and it's still going down. And I mean, this is where the people, because they get the chance to not feel helpless anymore. And this is what I like about what you're doing, is you're giving women back the ability to, you're giving them permission to say, I don't have to feel helpless. I can go do something about this.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. And I think that's what gets frustrating with my own skin and my own autoimmune stuff, is that I have been, and I always am, such a proactive person. If there's something I don't like, if there's something doesn't feel right, I go for it, I change it, I adjust the sails. Like, I'm very much that type of person that has always gone for stuff like that. But with the breast implants, that was no exception. That was like, hands down, when I thought about it, when I sat with it, nothing was worth what I was feeling at the time. And if there's something I can change in my body, I will absolutely do that. Take the implants out. That was absolutely, I was like, this is not a question. This is not even a question. I'm going to do this, and this will follow. I worked on my mental health before it, but a lot of my mental health was done after I had them out, and the recognition. And while I knew I was going to get them out, working up towards it, but it was like, that was the biggest piece of it. It wasn't preparing my body to get them out. It wasn't like, there's a lot of people who ask me that too. It's, what do I need to do beforehand to get ready for this explant? And it was mentally get yourself in the right space to accept it. And there's a lot of women, I try to change the narrative of it too. There's a lot of women who say, what about my body? What's it going to look like? Did you do this? Did you do a lift? Did you do a fat transfer? And a lot of the physical stuff that they're asking about. And I understand those questions, but to me, it was getting them out was here, and that's what I needed to change. That's what I needed to focus on, was the mental part of it.
Yeah, you know, I look at the fat transfer too as an example. And we're just trading one problem for another.
All the time. That's what women with, it's the biggest struggle. And I hate even speaking up to them about this, but they say, you know, I have a double mastectomy. I have breast cancer. I have nothing there. Yeah. What do I do? And I want to put the breast implants in. And I'm like, it's the same breast implants that I had in. It's the same breast implants that every other woman has put in. It's not a special type of implant that is made for breast implants. So it's made for breast cancer. It's exactly what you're saying. You're trading one problem for the other. And I hate seeing that with so many women who fight so hard for their lives, so hard for recovery, to have to go trade one problem for the other. It's hard sometimes to see that.
Yeah, because when we go through chemotherapy, we're killing all of the bacteria. We're stopping the body's natural immunity already. And then we're putting something in that's challenging the immune system all over again.
Yeah, it's making your body fight harder.
You know what, I've struggled with that conversation because I don't want to be the one to tell somebody, and I don't. I just say you have to do what you feel is right.
Same.
Well, you know, the question I get is, well, what will it do to me? And I said, you're putting a foreign object in your body that leaches silicone. You're going to all this effort to not drink water out of a plastic bottle, and you won't. But you're talking about putting plastic inside of your body.
Yeah, it's not only plastic. The ingredients, Gary, it's arsenic is in the ingredients in breast implants capsules.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff. There's so many heavy metals. There's so many things where you're just like, if you actually read the ingredients, people would be like, what?
Right.
Crazy. So like you say, one problem for the other. And it's exactly like you say, like, we don't want to be the one. I don't know what it's like to go through that. And I can't imagine going through cancer, breast cancer, having to go through chemotherapy, all that I can't imagine it. But what I can speak on and what I do know about is the ingredients in breast implants and reintroducing that into your body when you fought so hard for your life and you fought so hard for your health. It's hard. It's hard to see it, and it's hard to be like, because you want to say it's your body. Do what you feel, you know?
Do you feel that people get mad at you when you deliver that message?
I don't think mad. I think it's a message they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for an answer. When they come to me at this point, I'm no doctor. I can speak from experience, and I can speak from the education that I've had, and it's hundreds of hours, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours speaking to women, reading about, doing research, speaking on panels, all this stuff, and on breast implants, capsules, what they include, the ingredients. And what I do know is that, it's not good for anybody. They're not good for anybody. Whether somebody there's a lot of women who say, but they're okay for me because I'm not having any symptoms.
Right.
Mine are fine. Well, yours might be fine right now. You might not know it. They're still the same breast implants with the same ingredients that everybody else has, though. And just because your body is processing it hardcore right now doesn't mean your body's not fighting to process that stuff.
You know, from a clinical practitioner side, the worst thing that people can say to me, and I get this all the time with end of life cases, they were fine their whole life. They never had any problems, and all of a sudden they got this diagnosis and they died. And I'm like, that's not true. They weren't fine all their life. Just because your body is not showing the symptoms or you're not aware they're there. I mean, you noticed when you took them out, you felt differently, that you weren't even aware that you were feeling that way.
There are so many things too that even doctors would tell me. They would go, if I was not sleeping well, or if I was, I was like, my body, I would sleep 10 hours, 12 hours, and my body felt like it slept too. Or my period was different. And doctors would go, it's hormones, it's this, it's that, it's stress. And when I took them out, so many of the symptoms that I was like, the brain fog, the that, it was clarity, it was clearness in my eyes. I did not know my eyes were gray. The whites of my eyes were gray. And I had nothing to compare it to until after I took them out. And I looked at it and my eyes were like white and sparkly. And I was like, oh my gosh, did not know that.
Isn't that amazing? The eyes say it all.
Yeah, truly.
Let's try to bring up Nikki Ray.
Yes.
I say it all. And by the way, the person asking about the autoimmune for 8 years old, DM us and say that you'd like to be in the parents group. We'll put you in there. If you have children, we'll have it on the platform here shortly. And there's protocols for children who can't help themselves. Okay, that's not going to work, it looks like. Okay, Alexandra. Flow with Bree. Hello, Bree. Bree is Cynthia's daughter, who's also a coach.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alexandria,
how are you?
how are you doing? Meet Claire.
Hello.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I'm so honored by just you coming on here and sharing your story. It's so beautiful to me.
Oh, well, thank you. I try to just help as much as I can.
So, Claire, Alexandra is a 28-degree Cancer.
Ooh.
Yeah. And living right now in Chile.
I'm actually in the US. I just moved back. Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm in Florida.
Florida. I love that. I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
well, welcome back.
Thank you so much. We decided to move back because my boyfriend is from Chile and he got his visa approved, and he was like, do you want to just move? We were tired of being there, and I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. Trying to control and like trust him, and he got all the plane flights and everything. And I was like, okay, let's go. So we moved back a week ago.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Yeah.
Alexandra, you've been going through autoimmune stuff for a long time.
I think I've never officially been diagnosed with an
Now,
autoimmune.
you don't need to be diagnosed. Just having,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
What-
actually had a heart issue this week, and I ended up going to the hospital for it. So I'm still processing that a bit. I got back yesterday.
Oh.
So, when you hear Claire talking about the coming out and having the issue, does that feel like something like you're going through with your heart issue?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's a part of my healing, and I feel like it happened for a reason. I just surrendered to the whole process, let it happen. It was the worst that it's ever been, and I just knew the moment it was happening, I was like, I just have to surrender. This is happening for a reason. I'm going to go through it and see. And I think I'm still learning the lessons from it, but I've definitely learned a lot from just the last 2 days and the experience of it.
Oh. Gary, it's shoot. The word surrender. It's popping in again.
Surrender.
Yeah.
It's so hard. We were talking about it last time or a couple times ago where it's surrender, and I was so inspired by the word surrender, and here I am sitting here going, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then you say the surrender.
Yeah, that's all I could do, because I've had this heart issue since I was about 16, and I've always lived with it, just thinking, okay, this is just something I need to live with. And now that it's coming up again, I'm like, no, this is something that can be healed. And I felt like it was coming up almost for a final release. My heart rate was above like 250 for like over 6 minutes. And normally when I have like an arrhythmia, it calms down on its own. And I know that I need like minerals or electrolytes. And this time I was like, it's not calming down. And I didn't have any of the things in my bag that I normally take. So I knew it was happening for a reason. Like, I was with my mom instead of my boyfriend, so she didn't know exactly how to help me the way he normally does. And I knew that something was coming up from the first time that it happened to me that was stored in my heart that I couldn't process at that time, that now my heart was ready to process. And I'm all about natural medicine. I don't resonate with going to the doctor anymore, and I resonate with the natural side. So at this point I was like, I have to call the paramedics. I have to let go of control. I have to just surrender to the process. And I'm so thankful that I did, because they were so kind, so helpful. It was so interesting because they gave me they had me do vagal maneuvers that were exactly what you do when you're doing the fascial maneuvers. Yeah.
Wow, how did that happen? Look at that.
I know what's happening.
What was that?
God,
Where did that come from?
I never that.
Oh my God. Do you guys see that? How did that happen?
How did that happen?
You figured something. Yeah, they
4th of July.
and it was exactly the same as if you're squeezing your first 3 chakras. It was basically the spinal pelvic lock, and then below into something. And then they put me like up and down in my legs. Nothing would take my heart rate down though. And they were like, we're gonna give you a medication. And I was like, no. And I told them like, okay, I'm allergic to penicillin, and like I was like, let's try the vagal maneuver again. Let's try it again. And they were like, look, your heart rate's well above 250. Like, we need to bring it down. And all of a sudden they're giving it to me. And at that point I was like, I just have to surrender. I was like, I have to let go of control and trust that this medicine is going to do exactly what I need. and they said, you're going to feel real weird. And I did. And they said my heart stopped and came back. And it literally felt like I was being reborn.
Oh,
And
wow.
I felt like I needed to go through that because it was something in my heart that I'm processing. And we've been talking a lot about heart stuff here. And it was so interesting that it happened to me now. And that I had to surrender and just let go of control, not try to control the process, and trust that I was going to go through and everything was going to happen exactly as it was supposed to, and I was going to learn exactly what I was supposed to learn. And I feel like a part of that was also learning to slow down, not pushing myself to do too much, and learning to let my heart be soft again and feel. I like cried a little bit while I was in the hospital because I felt emotions that needed to process come up, and just still kind of processing through it all, to be honest, trying to understand why it happened.
So there's no accidents. You're coming up, you're speaking with Claire. There's a massive issue or feeling of surrender. As you're listening to her, Claire, what does that do for you?
You want to know something? I'm like, as you're talking, I'm having like tinglies and goosebumps like all in my face. And it's, I haven't thought about that word since last time we talked about it, Garry. And what is this? Exactly what every word you're saying, it's the same thing, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's whatever autoimmune stuff people are going through. It's exactly the words you're saying. And I think so many people, me included in that, can relate and resonate with that. The surrendering of what's my body telling me and what's it trying to say to me, and just honoring it and listening to it. Because first thing we want to do is like fight it and be like, oh no medication or no this or no that. And there is, I think, no right or wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, now that you're saying that, because there's times where it's like you gotta take the medication is life saving.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
was so thankful in that moment. And
Yeah.
I heard the words of this woman. She was on this documentary called Heal, and
I love that.
But she ended up taking the chemotherapy, and she did this work with a medicine woman to change the ingredient of the chemotherapy to not be toxic to the rest of her body, to only target cancer, and to turn it into a light or like a loving healing medicine. And I remembered that in my brain, and I was like, okay. They gave me like IVs and everything too, and magnesium, and it like burned my veins. And I changed something in my brain, and I said, I'm only receiving the good. I'm changing the ingredients, and I'm only receiving what I need, and I'm letting go of the rest. And I had that in my head of, sometimes I'm all for it, but sometimes the opposite, need it. And in that case, I did, and there was so little that I could do that I just accepted it. And I changed it in my brain to, or maybe my heart.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know, I changed the energy of it so that I would only receive what I needed. And then once the IV started hurting, I told them, I was like, this is really hurting my arm. Can we take it out? And they're like, yeah, sure. They were so respectful of me the whole time. They told me to take like a beta blocker, and I really felt comfortable with that. And they recommended surgery. And I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Knowing I'm going to go home and do the fascial maneuvers and research everything about the heart, and just let the process happen. I've had this sort of inclination to, I need to research everything and see a cardiologist. And I was like, no, I just need to be and trust and know that the right answers are going to come to me, and I'm opening my hands to them. And this is a lesson and a message for healing and for helping others too. I feel like this happened to me for a reason, not just for myself, but to be a help to others. That's my heart and my hope.
Yeah. Well, you are doing that. And I think even as you speak up, there's so many, me included in that, there's so many people that are like, oh, it resonates. Something will resonate with somebody. You don't have to come from a place of like education or knowing every little thing. It's speaking from experience and speaking from your heart and your experience, that I think that resonates more with people than somebody who's like preaching and don't have the experience,
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
changes.
Much.
Yeah.
So the latest thing that's coming up, I can tell you guys, is autoimmune tachycardia, autoimmune heart disease, autoimmune Alzheimer's, autoimmune MS is right now. That's what's coming up right now. I hear a thematic word. So I feel like it's what you needed to hear, Claire, right now, is that word surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you definitely were bringing that up, and you were right. And somewhere along the line, it's easy to forget. But when the situations get too extreme, like you're in the back of an ambulance, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's almost why I feel like it had to happen. It had to be so extreme that it would force me to let go. I let go of my little bag of things I always carry. I let go of people. I let go of only natural medicine. It was like, okay, I'm trusting paramedics. I'm trusting, the situation, my body, everything. And I also felt like I was meant to go through it because when I was in the hospital, several people wanted to talk to me about the story. And some people, even the guy who did the echo, I forget what it's called, the little machine where they look at the heart. He was talking to me about natural things and that he was leaning more towards the side and all the amazing things that you can do for the heart that are natural. And we were talking about the way allopathic and natural medicine meet each other, and that I'm thankful for a hospital in an emergency, but for long-term care, there's so many more herbs and plants and medicines and things you can do. And then the last doctor I saw, it's gonna sound kind of funny, but he was like recommending me a surgery to burn part of my heart off and a beta blocker medication and all these different things. And because there's like an electrical problem, it's something I was born with. And in my mind, I'm like, I know this can heal. And I remembered something that you said, Garry, where you or somebody, I think it was you, somebody recently was talking about how we communicate telepathically. And I thought to myself in like a split second, I wonder if this guy remembers. Like, I wonder if this guy, he's learned all these things through medicine, which is such a limited understanding of the body, which is fine. That's what he specializes in. But I wonder if he remembers the true healing, like the true nature of our body. And as I thought that, I looked up at him, almost sending that energy to him. And he kind of paused and looked at me funny. And I felt like I sent something to him. And then he was so nice after that. He like warmed up and he shook my hand. Thank you so much. He was really serious before that. It was so great to meet him. And I felt like maybe I was meant to send him like an energy or something to remember just the way the body can truly heal. And maybe it was waking something up in his brain. I don't know. I just thought it was such an interesting moment.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's super special. Well, Alexandra, thanks for coming on. I think that's exactly what Claire was looking for today in her journey.
Thank you.
I needed that.
I'm sending you so much love. You're sharing your story, and it's so beautiful, and you're helping so many people. And I feel it, and I know so many people feel it, and it's beautiful the way you're expressing yourself and being vulnerable. And thank you. You're doing amazing, and just keep being you and sharing your heart.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. That means that like has made my whole day, and I truly needed that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, Alexandra.
Bye.
That was kind of, I mean, that caught me off surprise. So, but the word surrender comes back up, and as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what you needed to hear.
I need to be reminded of that, because truly that it was weeks ago, was coming up, and at that time, my skin, everything was doing great, and I'm like, surrender keeps coming up, and maybe it was like preparing me for this, That was the reminder I needed, for sure.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's why I think when she came up, when the truth comes up, I feel it. You're Pisces. You feel it in your body. That's the tingling.
Yeah, I felt all the tingling in my face.
And that's the healing mechanism. Yeah,
Oh.
that's awesome. Well, Claire, so by the way, this Saturday is a big turning point It's the Astro Monday Chris is talking about, it's basically Neptune and your Sun conjuncting. So if you're feeling it already, today's a day where you're going to feel a little bit extra, maybe touchy about stuff, things interacting with your feelings. But Saturday is a big day for you.
Okay, can't wait.
And then we're coming up to the equinox next week on Thursday. So a week from now, when we're talking, it's the equinox. It's going to be a powerful day.
It's going to be such a powerful day. It is the second day of every single year that I look forward to. Because for me, I get this thing called low skies. I always call it low skies. But December 21st, our days start getting longer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things I look forward to, longer days. And it gives me hope when I'm in the middle of like seasonal depression or kind of like going through it. I'm like, December 21st, once we hit December 21st, the days are getting longer and it'll get better and better and better.
And that's my birthday. Well, technically it's the 20th by calendar, but the astrological day, the 29th, we're going to have that meeting with Chris on the 29th, and that's my birthday.
Oh, the 29th? I thought we were doing it on the 21st.
Or sorry, I mean on the 21st.
21st, okay.
Yeah, so 21st is 29 degree, but 20th is 28 degree.
So you're on the 20, your birthday is the 21st?
It's actually on the 20th calendar day, but the astrological day doesn't change each year. The calendar day goes forward and backwards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so technically my birthday is on the 21st. That's the 29 degrees. We're having that meeting with the 29 degrees and Chris on Thursday. We're here, and it's my birthday all in one shot.
Have we talked about this, Garry, real quick? Have we talked about yours is on the winter solstice, mine's on the spring solstice?
Yeah, I know.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Can we tell everybody about the fun fact about you and I that we have in common?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, no tailbone.
Garry and I both have no tailbones.
Explain that one. Yeah, just explain that one. All you scientists.
How do we figure that one out, by the way?
I know when I lost mine. You just don't know if you ever had it.
I don't even know if I ever had it. I think I have an idea. I did jump off the roof when I was a teenager and land right on my butt. So maybe that was it. But I don't even know if I was born with that one or what. But yeah, we both have no tailbone. So fun fact about Garry and I.
Yeah, fun fact. And I have not met anybody else who doesn't have one. And before I met you, I had these dreams or these visions that it was a woman somewhere else. And of course, you're in that in our club, our 29 degree club, which is all these other grandmasters and their signs that get together. And the fact that yours is on the solstice too, these are just all these little connection points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just amazing. It's even how you found and reached out and found me and how quickly it was. It was just like talking to an old friend. It
was, and it still is. Like, I feel genuinely like your family. And for me, it's like, that's why I look forward to these calls every single week. I'm like, I can't wait. So so let's see what happens Saturday. Big day for you. And then of course, the equinox, because by the way, the equinox is like an anti-birthday to you. So like anytime you have something like that, where you have that exact polar day, that's a big day because it's a reflection day. It's the day you get a reflection. It's not a coincidence that that's the day that you take target that the days get longer. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, by about 4 o'clock, it's already dark.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. I can't wait. Can't wait till the days get longer.
Okay, we'll talk to you next week, Claire. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.